Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am filming my God of Think for season wrap up for the season of autumn in 2021, and there is, if you don't know, 4 reading challenges for each month of the season. So now I have finished November. It's still like until the end of November if you're doing the challenge. Of course you have the whole month, but I finished now, so I will post my wrap up now so I can post the challenges for winter soon, hopefully. I'm just wrapping up the book and sharing my thoughts on the books that I picked out for the different challenges for myself. And of course we're starting in September, and the first challenge for that was called Space. It was to choose a book, the first book you can think of when you hear the word space. Initially I did actually think at first about Gideon the Ninth, but I didn't want to. I wanted to, but I felt like I shouldn't reread it once again, so I decided to go to Sleep in the Sea of Stars. That was a sentence, which is Christopher Paolini's standalone adult sci-fi novel, and this one also came into mind because it's a big space epic fantasy thing, and of course I thought about it as well after Gideon. And this one basically follows Kira, who finds this suit that has different abilities and secrets. Don't want to spoil it obviously, but many different elements to it. And yeah, it was a reread. I did already read this before its release because I had an arc of it, so I read it. I have a review on my channel, and then I wanted to reread it on audiobook, and I did, and it was a really good audiobook, so I do recommend that. And it's a really good book overall. I think when I read it, I was trying to read it so fast because I wanted to finish it before release, etc., that like I didn't even like get to, I think, take in everything that Christopher had managed to come up with here. And listening to the audiobook, I feel like I could fully appreciate everything that he came up with, the different elements to the story, the backstory, where everything came from, the different relationship between the different things that happen. There's many good things in here. It's found family trope. It has a really good main character, many conflicts that make sense, and it's a big space opera. You literally go to space as much as you could in a book like this. And I think Christopher is writing more in the universe, while though not a direct sequel to this. And I'm very excited to see what it will come up with, because I think this was so enjoyable. It is big though, but it just is a really easy book in a way that I feel like you could be intimidated by its length but still have a really good time with it, even though you're not used to sci-fi. So yeah, I do still really recommend it, and I'm glad that I took the time to reread it on audio, and yeah, no regrets. Still a really solid book that I really enjoy. The next challenge was called Fluff, and it was to choose a LGBTQ plus book that was recommended on TikTok. So I just went on TikTok and I searched for LGBT recommendations in books, and there was many that I already read, but there was one I saw that I had wanted to pick up for a while, and that was Screw, Serpent, Thorn by Melissa Bashard-Doust. So this is an FF romance book, and even knowing that though, it kind of spoils the plot twist in the book. But basically it is a standalone, it's a YA fantasy, and it follows a main character who is a princess, and her name is Soroya, and all her life, like if she touches people, they die. So she's been cursed for her life, and then we find out why, and like maybe get rid of this curse and other elements to the story. I don't know why I use the word element so much, it's just a thing. Right now, it's many months ago since I read it. We are in November, but in September in the beginning. So like my mind is like, what really did I think about it? But overall, I did enjoy it. I feel like the story did unravel at a point, and it wasn't as interesting and compelling that you would want it to be, that I felt like the author tried to make it, and in the end I was like kind of tired of the whole thing. I feel like it wasn't, I guess, consistent enough for me to love it completely. I think I enjoyed the beginning a lot, and then it was like a lot of back and forth, if I remember correctly. But yeah, the atmosphere here was really nice. It had a really like nice fairy tale-esque feel, so I did like how it was written. I didn't hate it, but I wouldn't recommend it like a lot. Like I would remember I read it and then say to someone like, oh, this was nice, but like, yeah, it's kind of forgettable. I have other books that I will remember and recommend before this one, but now I read it. The next challenge was called Scented Vanilla, and it was to choose a book that has been in your TBR for a really long time, or a TBR veteran. For that I continued True Blood, which I started again this year. I had read the first book many years ago, and then I never continued, and now earlier this year I picked up the series again. So this is the third one I read this year. I didn't want to read all of them this year, but it didn't happen. The original title for this is Club Dead, and this is the third book in the series, as I think I just said that, but yeah. I don't want to spoil the books. It's full of Saki, who can read minds, and then vampires are out, like everyone knows they exist. And she meets Bill, who's a vampire, but she can't read his mind because she can't read the minds of vampires. And she is like, oh my god, it sounds like Twilight level. Either way, and that's the plot of the first book. Or I guess this is the third one. Then she also uses her abilities of telepathy to like help in investigations for the vampires, and then there's more things of course that happen, but that's basically it in the beginning. It is good but not like amazing, and I think it has like some problematic things written in it because it's old, which is like a bad excuse, but it does. And then like, yeah, I have watched the TV show. I think that's more fun almost, but I think it's interesting to read the books. Don't hate them, but don't love them. And I do want to just read them to say about them because I wanted to read them for many years. I even have them in Norwegian because they're so old. So there's that. Also, I hadn't put this book back where all my other True Blood books are, and for this video I couldn't find it because I put it like not up over here yet because I knew I was gonna talk about it here, and I just couldn't find it right before this video, but then I found it. I swear I usually know where my books are, but like this is twice in a really short amount of time I could not find a book I want to talk about in the video, so that's funny. And then the fourth and final challenge for September was called Pillow Talk, and it's to choose a smutty book by his POC author, and for that I read The Brightest by Helen Wang. This one was not smutty enough to go for this challenge, but it was a bit smutty, but not smutty enough for my taste. This is the second book in the quiz continent. I would guess say like romance books. It's like a trilogy, but like they all follow different characters that do know of each other, but I don't follow the same main characters. And here we have, what's her name? Either way, she lives far away in HR and is quite poor, and then she gets the offer to go to America and meet this dude who is kind of rich and stuff, but he doesn't have a wife, and her mother wants her to marry his son, and then they just like kind of live together. So like that's why it's called the bride test, because she's like testing to see if she can be his bride. It's kind of funny. There's a lot of tension, sexual tension and other things between them. I did like really like the build up to the story where like we see them like, oh she's hot, and then like, oh but he doesn't like me, oh she likes me, you know, the beginnings of a relationship. That was quite fun. But then I think when they got together and also like the different issues they had, it just kind of, the story lost me. It was really good in the beginning. I was like literally like, oh my god, this is a 5-star book, and then it like went down to a 3-star book. It was quite disappointing just because the characters didn't manage to solve the issues by themselves. They have to ask other people outside all the time for advice for them to be able to do anything, and I think that was like weird miscommunications that was unnecessary, and I'm like then unsure if they should even be together, if they can even communicate. But I do think that it was sweet in the end, of course, and I do enjoy this book, but alas, I enjoyed the first book more, and there should be more smut. I need more smutty books than this. This is like not enough smut for my taste if I'm gonna read a bit smut. I don't know, it's like teasy smut, but it was still fun. I didn't hate it. We'll of course still read the third book, The Heart Principle I think it's called, and yeah, I don't hate them, they are cute. I just like felt the story was like under the wall for what it was, that's all. Now we are in October, and that is of course Spooky Month, and the first challenge for that was called Spoopy. Choose a scary book recommended by a friend, and I ended up choosing The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas, which was recommended to me from Jessie from Bow Ties and Books. And yeah, this one is a YA thriller novel with ghosts. We have our main character Jake, who is gay and also can see ghosts, and there's this one ghost from this one dude that's haunting him and trying to kill him, which is not really nice, but it is happening. Trying to survive and stuff, and also like, you know, be a normal teenager. It's a very short book. It's like 200 something pages, 290 maybe, so like it goes by really fast. But what the author managed to put there, this solid story, making us care so much for Jake, and just like, you know, ghost fun shit, and also some really dark shit, by the way. Look up trigger warnings, just saying. In this short thing, I am very impressed, and I really liked it. I had a really great time with it. I didn't even know like that Jake was gay, and I always, you know, appreciate a LGBT book coming into my heart. I always appreciate that, and I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, and I do really recommend it as well. It was like perfect for spooky season and dark nights, and just a solid story with fun and sadness, but also happiness combined. What else more do you want from a book? that's all. The next challenge was called Black Cat, and that was to choose a book with a black cover with POC rap and LGBTQ plus rap. And for that I read The Evergreen Kingdom by Ranger Pecco. This is the second and final book in the Never Tilting World duology, and we read the first book for Faes and Games, which is the book club I'm co-hosting, where we read Chris of Fantasy every single month. Check it out down below. But why I'm mentioning this is because when I read the first book, we were discussing a lot of the elements in the book, really going into like the different details, like the different things we wanted to be answered, and I wondered if they would be answered in, you know, the second book in the series, because it finishes there. I thought it was a trilogy, but it's a duology, lol. So, did we get answers? And yes, we did. I am still a bit confused of certain things that happen, but we did. I didn't even say what it's about. So basically, it's set like in a world where one part of the, I was gonna say country or continent, is like always sunny and warm and day, and the other part is always like night and chill. And then we have two sisters that cause this, and then we follow 4 point of views that all come together to try to, I mean, end the world after this, because it's kind of shit and it's kind of falling apart, so that's not fun. And we find out why, and blah blah blah, and things are gay, and it's a great time. I do really appreciate the world Ranger Pecco created here, and I do think the characters were a lot of fun. There was a lot of fun interactions and stuff. For me, it was still a bit confusion of how the whole world functioned, how they have survived all these years, what really happened, kinda. But that might just be me. I still really enjoy the characters and everything. So I ended up, I think, giving it like 3.5 or 4 stars. I don't really know, but I do recommend this duology, but I still prefer, I think, the Bone Witch series, which I love a lot. But I still think this is a good and solid one, and overall Ranger Pecco's books have really like fun and interesting concepts that you have a lot of fun with, and solid characters. The next chapter was called Non-Human, and it was to read a book where the main character is not human. After that I read Cersei by Madeline Miller, and this one is of course a Greek mythology retelling from Cersei, who is like a sorcerer kinda. She's daughter of one of the gods, god of the sun, and also like a, what's it called? Not a nymph, I think it's called something. Like, her mother is not human. I don't remember what it's called right now. Not a nymph, is it? Either way, we have her, and then her life, and she's of course immortal, and we just see her life for many years and everything that happens to her. And I love Greek mythology, I'm not gonna lie. No, some people don't care for it, that's totally fine, but for me, I love, like, you know, Percy Jackson and other things I read. Of course, I love the Song of Achilles, and this is a perfect in my taste. I love how Madeline Miller tells her stories, and just how she writes, and the atmosphere of the story. I just love seeing all the different known characters. I love the mentions of Song of Achilles in here, and overall, just like a solid book. I really enjoyed it. I do think some elements of the story could have been explored more. Like, I don't want to, like, I don't know if you can spoil like a book that's been out for like 2000 years kinda. But like, I think there were elements to the story that could have been very strong, but the author chose to like not go there, and I think that was too bad. But overall, just a solid book, very solid. I don't know what more to say. So 4 out of 5 stars. Love Song of Achilles more, but still really enjoyed this one. Then we have the challenge Halloween, and it was to choose a LGBT book with a skeleton, pumpkin, witch, vampire, or ghost on the cover. And for that I chose Vampires Never Gets Old, which is a short story collection. A lot of the stories here were queer, but not all of them, and it's like a short story collection by lots of known YA authors that wrote different short stories, of course, and all of them have to do with vampires. And also there's a skull on the cover, but now I feel like, I know it has a skull like with fangs because vampires, but I feel like it could have had a vampire on the cover. Just saying. But overall, some of the stories were really, really good, as always in a short story collection. Like, super good, 5 out of 5 stars. I was so fascinated, really enjoyed every page. And then other stories were like, man, I really didn't care for it, I wanted it to end. That's like always like that in anthologies. You can never have it completely solid. But yeah, I think I ended up giving it like 3.5 out of 5 stars. But what I did enjoy about this is to see how every author approaches vampires, because, you know, everyone does it differently. There's always different mythologies of how they live, of like, can they go in sunlight, you know, all the different shit, to how much blood do they need to kill, all different things. And I love vampires. I love seeing authors approach them differently. That was fun in this too. I have not what more to say. And like every like story had like kind of I was not gonna say like a kind of point to them, where like the two editors like kind of commented on them and like, here the author answers this question, what if vampires la la la, and I thought that was really interesting. And it was really like a lot of diverse stories as well with vampires, and I thought that was cool. I'm opening it because I want to tell you my favorite story, but now I can't remember which one it was. Some I would love to see as full-length novels, some I won't forget I read, but apparently I already forgotten. You know, notes could have been taken, but I didn't. But yeah, glad I read it, had a lot of fun, would definitely read some of the short stories here again. I could have gone through it now and like actually remember, but I am too lazy for that, so we're gonna move on. We are now in November, which is the last month of course, and for that we have Bored, that is to choose a book with fancy letters on the cover, and for that I read Instructions for Dancing by Nicole Yoon. Oh god, look at those fancy letters. I mean, it could have basically almost been any book, but you know what I mean. So this is Nicole Yoon's newest book, and this follows Evie, whose parents just got divorced. Her dad cheated and she's not happy about it and is not speaking to him, and then she like has lost the belief in love, and then she starts seeing people's love story and see like them end in front of her all the time. It's very sad. And then she starts this dancing studio thing, and then she meets this boy. Will she find a belief in love? Is love worth it? That's what the book's trying to answer. I think it does it nicely, but in a sad way. Sad to see all the things happening around her, and yeah, it made me sad. That's what I want to say. But it was overall a sad book, but a very important theme to it, and I think it was written beautifully and it was a beautiful story, but it was sad. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I don't know what more to say. Like, I feel like I could have talked about like, you know, the point of this book for a long time, but we're just gonna move on. And then we have Pain version 2, which was to choose a book with 500 plus pages with POC wrap. After that I read The Faes of Vengeance by Evan Winters. This one had 548 pages I think, and I actually picked this up for another God of Fantasy season, but it didn't match the thing after all because it was supposed to have over 600 pages, but it just didn't. I read it now, and yeah, I don't know what to tell you about the plot because describing these books are weird, but it's basically set in this world. I was gonna say everyone is depressed, but they are not. Like, the society is split up in like lower and higher people, and then we follow like our main character Tan. Is his name Tan? Isn't it funny if I forgot the main character's name? Either way, and he's in the lower thing, and then like the higher people are responsible for his father's death, and he goes out on like, you want to kill the one step behind that, which is like good for him, but you know, he's like weaker than the others, etc. So it's hard for him to boom. Or is he though? Is he weaker? Is he? Who knows? Yeah, there's also dragons and queens and stuff, and war and many different things happening. It's one of the most complex things I read. Really, really cool concepts, and I really enjoy our main character who's like totally, I was gonna say crazy, because he's so intense in what he does and wants to really follow through what he does. And yeah, it's a really enjoyable series, but like definitely like hardcore, bloody and murdery, and yeah, it's perfect. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. I was thinking, can it follow up of what the first book gave us? And it did. It was solid. So yeah, I am giving it 4 out of 5 stars. And I don't know really how to describe these books because there's so many things happening, and I don't know how to describe it without being coherent, but if you know, you know. That's all I need to say. And next challenge is called Forever Alone. It was to choose a YA book released in 2010, and for that I had gotten this year the Iron Fae set from Fairyloot. So I read The Iron King, which is the first book in the series by Julie Kagawa, and it was released in 2010 originally, so I was very happy that I got to pick this up. This is a Fae book, and it's Julie Kagawa's original book, and we follow our main character Megan Chase, and she's soon 16, and then, you know, enter the world of magical fairies. I don't know, I have to like not spoil, but there's like, well, like typical, I would say like YA thingy, staple YA thingy where the main character finds out that, oh my god, there's a magical world, and you know, you enter it. But the things here is that I really enjoyed this one because it was consistent, it made sense for like why the world was as it was, and you know, there's battling between like, you know, the girl, between 2 guys. It's like, it was really fun. I didn't hate it as I thought it would. I thought it would be very annoying, but I think it was exciting and fun. It wasn't like amazing and like the best book in the whole world, but definitely solid, and I ended up giving it like 3 out of 5 stars. And it was loads of fun, and I have no regrets having these super pretty editions, and then also enjoying the books. And I'm excited to read the rest of the series, also the newest ones that the author has come out with, like in the world kinda, so that is also fun. What more to say? Pleasantly surprised, and not at all like as annoying I thought it would be. It was just fun. What more do you want in life than fun? And the last challenge is called Let Me Be Alone Forever Bye Bye, and it was to choose a book that looks like the cover has been painted in paint, and I chose An Emotion of Great Delight by Tara Murphy. I'm sorry, but this cover does look like it could have been made in paint, especially with the letters. I don't know. And like a novel, I don't know. But yeah, like I'm not the biggest fan of the cover, but the book itself, wondrous, beautiful, very sad. They were so sad as well. Instruction for Dancing and this remind me a lot of each other because they were both so sad. So this one, for our main character, what's her name? Shadi, but I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. And then we see her in two timelines kinda, where in the future she's super depressed and everything is depressing and sad. She lost her best friend and her whole family is falling apart. And then like we have a few flashbacks where like everything was nice. This is set in 2003, and this is a few months after America declared war on Iraq. So there's a lot of Islamophobia going around, and you know, of course she experiences this because she is a Muslim teen. And yeah, we see that as well. That is just one part of the whole depressing world that she lives in. And oh my god, she's so depressed and sad the whole book. And I got so sad. And I'm just like, I want her to be happy. And then like, the things that kind of made her happy, like why I'm dragging the book a bit down, is just like a dude. And I was like, really? Okay. And also, the book ended really abruptly. And I wanted her to have more, what's it called, like not wrapping up the story, because that's not how life is. Life is not like you go and have one cover and one is okay. But I feel like there were so many loose ends in her life after like last conversations for us, and I mean never get to like see the next parts of it. Like we never got to see her heal or like see her talk to those people again. We just like ended it. We never got to know what happened to certain people. We were just like bye. And I was like, okay, it's really short. It's like 248 pages, and I feel like it could have been like 300 to give us a bit more in the end. But I did think it was a beautiful book, even though it was quite depressing. And I do think that Tara Murphy has written now, is it 2 contemporaries, both with Muslim teams as main characters, that are really heartbreaking and of course very important, but also having all these other super nice elements to it. Here, like I said, like family and friendship is also like really in the front as well, of course. And yeah, I ended up enjoying it 4 out of 5 stars, but because their birth end, I got to pull a bit down for me. But parts of it was really strong, and then other parts were a bit weak. So there's that, with a lot of things, I guess. And that's all the books I got for God of Thing for season. Filming wrap-ups is fun. My voice doesn't hurt at all. Hopefully God of Thing for winter will be up soon. Maybe the last one. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. We will see. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a fae emoji down below if you enjoyed this, and you will see me soon in a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.